Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over everything that I watched in the month of March. And March was a pretty successful month for me because I really wanted to complete 2 series and I was able to do that. And the first of those 2 series was My Hero Academia Season 4. I had watched up to Season 3, and then last month, if you guys watched last month's video, I did complete watching the movie 2 Heroes. Yes, 2 Heroes. So in the month of March, once I was caught up with everything, I finally got into Season 4. And for the most part, I did enjoy it. This series is split up into 2 parts. I mean, Funimation has been doing this for the most part, but in this season specifically, you can really tell the difference between Part 1 and Part 2. In Part 1, they generally go over all of the stuff with Overhaul, which is why he's here in this cover. And then in Part 2, you kind of transition. I guess they're kind of completing the test because if you guys remember from Season 3, I believe, Bakugo, Todoroki, and these 2 other characters did fail the first test, so they kind of had to go back and do a retest. But the second part, I wouldn't say mainly focuses on that. I think it more mainly focuses on these villains right here in the front of the cover of the limited edition box set, as well as this concert that they're trying to arrange for the school festival. And to be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of the second part of My Hero Academia. I really enjoyed the first part. This part was really good. I really love anything that has to do with the main villain of My Hero Academia. I find them to be the most interesting part of My Hero Academia, which I've heard later in the manga, I guess after this, it does get really good as far as the villains are concerned. So I'm really excited to see what Season 5 has in store for us. But what we got here in Season 4, Part 1, I really enjoyed. I thought Overhaul was a really good character, and well, I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but I'll just say that I really did enjoy him, and his quirk was almost OP, really, and it was kind of interesting to see how our heroes dealt with him. Another really interesting character was Eri here. She was one of the new characters that when I did my unboxing, I didn't know who she was, but yes, she really does play a huge part in this role. The villains are using her quirk to create a drug that nullifies all quirks, and they ended up using that on some of our heroes, and I was honestly shocked by one of the heroes that ended up being forced to take this drug. There were some other stuff that shocked me as well. I believe in this season, I finally got the sense that not everyone is safe. I remember when I was watching through Season 3, I just kind of felt like everybody had this plot armor over them, especially the heroes. There was never really any consequences to anything that happened. You never really felt that there were any high stakes. However, everything changed with this season right here, and I'm excited to see what we get in the future seasons of My Hero Academia. So yeah, really enjoyed Season 4 Part 1. Season 4 Part 2, on the other hand, did kind of make me drop my score a little bit as far as the story goes. If it had been on the same level as Season 4 Part 1, I probably would have rated this story about an 8 or a 9. But because I didn't really enjoy the stuff going on here with the school festival, and then didn't really enjoy these villains as well, my final score for the story ended up being a 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, I really didn't enjoy this one. For the characters, I mean, I love all the characters here, so I rated that an 8 out of 10. Music was great as always, so I rated that an 8. Picture quality looked amazing. That was also an 8. And then just my personal enjoyment, I rated it a 7. So my final score ended up averaging to a 7.5 out of 10. Did really enjoy it. It's just this second part really did bring it down for me. But I am still excited for Season 5, and I still do really love this series. So this was the first thing that I watched in March, and it was a really good start to the month. And after I finished watching Season 4, I had to go straight into this film right here, My Hero Academia Heroes Rising. For this one, I do have the Steelbook edition, which is really nice. I really do like the Steelbooks for this series so far. I think there's been 2 movies so far, and both steelbooks are really nice. You get the artwork on the discs, artwork on the background, and then just the artwork in the front and the back of the steelbook are both really nice. And then this movie, I really enjoyed this one way more than My Hero Academia 2 Heroes that I watched last month. In this film, we pretty much have all of Class 1A. They're kind of taking care of this island, and they're doing it by themselves. There's no other heroes with them. It's just Class 1A. It was supposed to be sort of like an easy task for them to do. There wasn't supposed to be any villains or anything going after them, but the villains had other plans. And man, the villains, this guy right here, if Overhaul was overpowered, he was like overpowered times 2 or something, because he basically had the same powers as All for 1, but I think he was limited to about 4 or 5 quirks that he's able to take from people. But I mean, that's enough to make him a really powerful villain. And his motivation for actually coming and invading the island that Class 1A was assigned to protect was that he needs a quirk to basically heal himself, because he does sustain damage anytime he uses any of the quirks that he takes from people too much. So in order to combat that, he's looking for a quirk that allows him to heal himself. And one of these characters here, one of the kids, has that quirk. So once he learns about the kid that has that quirk, he decides to come to this island to try and take that quirk from him. And in doing so, they destroy all means of escape and communication. And Class 1A basically has to take care of this villain and his gang by themselves, which the other people in his gang were also pretty powerful villains. So yeah, it wasn't an easy task for them, but the way that they handled the film, it was pretty believable. And the final battle here was really great. I think it was much better than any of the battles that we got in the season 4. Even I think it was even better than the fight between Midoriya and Overhaul. I just really enjoyed this one. However, if you guys have seen this film, something happens at the end of the film, and I was shocked. I was literally thinking that they were gonna go with that. But in the end, they kind of reversed what happened at the end there, so that was slightly disappointing. But overall, I did enjoy my time with this one, and I rated the picture quality an 8 out of 10, the music an 8.5 out of 10. That's another thing, the music at the end of this one, when you have Bakugo and Midoriya fighting against the villain, that music was really great. I really did enjoy the music, so that's why I rated the music an 8.5 out of 10. The story was an 8, characters 8.5 out of 10. I rated this one higher than season 4 because I really did enjoy the villains here. And then my personal enjoyment was an 8, averaging my final score for this film to an 8.2 out of 10. So yeah, now I'm all ready for season 5. I haven't started watching it. It did already start, but I don't know. I usually like to wait for everything to be released and then I watch it. I even sometimes just wait for the Blu-ray to be released because I just want to watch it in the highest quality possible. So I don't know when I'll watch season 5, since I have a lot of other things to watch in my collection, so I probably will not watch it until I receive it on Blu-ray. But once I do get it in my hands, I will watch it right away. All right, and then next up, towards the middle of March, I decided to watch this one with my wife, and I don't know if that was a mistake or not, but we ended up watching Domestic Girlfriend, which is a really spicy romance drama, I guess is what I would categorize it as. And it's about this high schooler, Natsuo, whom is not on the cover here, we just have the girls here, but Natsuo is in love with his teacher, Hina, which is shown here on the back. However, he doesn't believe that Hina will ever reciprocate his love. So to try to get past his feelings, Natsuo decides to go on a group date with his friends, and he meets a girl named Rui, I'm not too sure how to pronounce that. And by the end of that group date, they decide to go home together, and they do end up losing their virginity to one another. And then the next day, his father tells Natsuo that he has some news for him, and his father tells him that he's gonna end up marrying a girl that he's been dating for the past couple of months, and it turns out that the woman that his father is marrying is none other than the mother of both Rui and Hina. These two are actually sisters. So as you can imagine, that did come to a huge shock to Natsuo and Rui. And then from then on, there's sort of like a love triangle between the two sisters and Natsuo. So for this review, since I did watch it with my wife, I'm gonna ask if she wants to come and kind of give her thoughts on the series.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Anna, and I'm Alfonso's wife. I'm a little nervous. So initially about this anime, I thought that it was gonna be one of those where the guy sleeps with everyone or everyone likes the guy, and it is. Like a harem? Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like those, but it wasn't exactly like that. I guess most of the girls that have been introduced do kind of like him, but he's not. The guy character isn't like wanting to sleep around with everyone, I guess. He did sleep with her, but I guess he was maybe a little pressured. But I did end up even liking the main character. He seemed like a nice guy. And I really liked her the most. She kind of straightforward, and she doesn't really know what love is, but she's kind of figuring that out as she interacts more with the main character. I don't remember their names, but she's my favorite one. And then this is the sister that's the teacher, and I don't know, I didn't really like her. She was nice, but she's like, I don't know, she's a teacher, but she doesn't seem like she has her shit together. I don't know. And it's just weird to me that she ended up wanting to be with the younger guy and her student.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, maybe. I did like the series. I'm not very good at explaining things, but I do recommend it. It was really fun to watch, and I hope he ends up staying with her because I really like her. But it seems like she's really trying to be with him, and maybe the last episode it ended on, hopefully she wins him over. I like her.
So what's your final rating?
I don't know. Compared to what? Like an 8.5 maybe out of 10.
Okay, that's a pretty good score.
Yeah, I liked it. It's fun to watch, so recommend it. Yeah.
Alright guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed my wife's review. I think she did a really good job. I think she even did better than I did. So hopefully I can get her to join me in more of these videos. But yeah, for this one, we'll stick with her review. She rated it an 8.5 out of 10.
No, what did you rate it?
Oh, well, I rated it a 7.7 out of 10. But mine rating is kind of an average of a lot of different things, such as the picture quality, the story, the characters. I think she kind of rated it more on her personal enjoyment, which for my personal enjoyment, I also rated it an 8. So I think our ratings were kind of the same as far as our personal enjoyment goes.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those that you could watch with your partner. It's not too, what do you call it? It doesn't reveal so much, and it's not awkward. I felt like a lot of the times it was kind of cute.
Yeah, I guess that's another good point. It is a good thing that you can watch with your partner. So yeah.
Intro!
Oh,
the
yes.
intro was so good. The opening.
Yeah, I actually forgot to talk about that. So that's one of the highest ratings that I gave this series. I actually gave the music and soundtrack a 9 out of 10 because I loved both the opening and ending of this anime. Both of them were really good, and if you guys haven't heard them, I would definitely suggest you guys go and search up like the opening and ending of Domestic Girlfriend. You won't be disappointed. It's a really good track. So yeah, my final score was a 7.7. My wife's was an 8.5. Alright guys, and then the last thing that I watched in March for my personal collection was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind. This is part 5 of the JoJo's storylines, and I really love JoJo's, and from what I've seen in this part, I feel like I'm just going to continue and enjoy the series as it continues to go on. Because my journey with JoJo's, the first 3 parts weren't my favorite. I just kind of went through them just because I had heard JoJo's was really great. So I wanted to watch it all, and the first 3 parts were kind of difficult for me to get through. But once we reached part 4, that's when it really started to pick up for me. And part 5, it kind of just remained on the same level. Although I do love part 4 more than part 5. So right now for me, it's part 4, then part 5, then part 2, then part 3, and then part 1. But yeah, in the storyline for Golden Wind, we're not even following a JoJo's. We're actually following Giorno Giovanni, which turns out to be Dio's illegitimate son. So I guess technically he is a JoJo because Dio was inhabiting Jonathan Joestar's body. So I don't know. It depends how you want to see it. I personally don't see him as a JoJo's. To me, he looks more like Dio, and I just like to see him as Dio's son. But yeah, we follow him in this storyline, and his main goal here in Golden Wind is to basically climb up the ranks of the Italian mafia and take down the boss and become the boss himself, because he kind of wants to change how things are ran. He wants to use it mainly to help people instead of just kind of using it mainly to make money and distribute drugs and stuff like that. Growing up, he did have a mafioso help him out, so he'd like to do the same for others. And in his quest to become a mafioso and defeat the boss, he ends up joining Bucciarati's gang, which in my opinion is actually one of the best JoJo's gangs in all of the parts. I think it is actually my favorite. I just think all of the characters in the Bucciarati gang are all pretty awesome in their own right. They all know how to use their stands to their full potential, it seems like. So that was pretty awesome. And yeah, part 1 of this JoJo's, this part right here, it just kind of introduces the whole gang. It goes into a little bit of their backstory and how they came to join the Bucciarati gang. And I think my favorite member of the Bucciarati gang is actually Mista. I really love his stand, the fact that he can use his stand to sort of deflect bullets and pretty much shoot whatever he wants with 100% precision in a certain radius. I don't think they ever mentioned what that radius is. I just know at one point they did say that a target was out of his radius or something like that. But if they are within his radius, he can probably shoot them exactly where he wants to shoot them. So I thought he was pretty cool. And he was kind of the Polnareff of this season because he always got his ass kicked, but he also kicked a lot of ass as well. So yeah, that was mainly what this part 1 consisted of. And then in part 2, we're kind of introduced to the boss here. You don't really see him in this form until like the last 5 episodes, but I still would say that he was a really interesting villain. I did really like the whole aspect about him having dual personality disorder. And as far as my villains, I guess my top 3, he does make it into my top 3. I think it would be Kira obviously as number 1, then Dio, and then it would probably be the boss here. So yeah, did enjoy this. So yeah, now going into my rating, I rated the picture quality and art style an 8.5 out of 10. The music an 8 out of 10, story an 8, characters 8, and personal enjoyment 8. So everything pretty much got an 8 except for the picture quality because I thought it looked really great, as I've already mentioned. So my final score ended up averaging to an 8.1 out of 10 for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind. And if you haven't gotten into JoJo's, the way I would recommend it is read parts 1 through 3 and then just watch the anime for part 4 and part 5, because this is really where the anime gets really great. That concludes everything that I watched from my physical collection. So yeah, as you guys can see, it was all anime. I didn't watch any of my 4K movies or anything from my Criterion collection, unfortunately. So I already failed at my challenge of trying to watch 1 Criterion per month. So next month, I'll probably try and watch 2 just to kind of make up for for this month. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys thought about everything that I watched from my collection. And if you guys have seen any of these, let's talk about it down below in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you agree with my ratings. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
I'm curious to see how she's going to react once she knows that the main character, it doesn't say it in here. Natsuo, okay. Once Natsuo tells her that she slept with the sister because he hasn't told her. I hope she dumps him and then they can both sleep together.